Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Small Talk. I'm very pleased to speak about welcoming back. I'm very pleased to welcome back today's guest. She is a CEO and founder at Raven Sinclair Consulting. She is a former professor of truth bombs at the University of Regina, and she refers to herself as a Cree carnivore. Please welcome back Raven Sinclair.
Thanks, Nancy. It's nice to be back.
Nice to have you back for sure. Now, speaking of that, you were traveling for a bit.
Yes. So I really wanted to go to the like there's this at rodeos there's this event Indian relay, and it's very exciting. It's bareback,
Mhm.
and it's a team of four horses and one rider and a bunch of support people,
Right.
and the one rider has to do four circuits and jump from horse to horse.
Oh
So
my.
they're going along bareback and they leap off one horse and they leap onto the other one. And so this like full tilt, super fast. But I so went up to Vancouver, did a huge loop through San Francisco, Vegas, through the Mojave Desert when it was 47 degrees,
Oh my.
through San Francisco, Grand Canyon, came up, got there, and the tickets were sold out.
Oh my goodness. Oh no,
I
that's
tried to get them in advance, but I don't know what day they opened the sales. But when we got there, it's like, ah,
how disappointing, eh?
sad. Yeah. But the Crow Agency also has relays, and I mean Calgary Stampede, they have them there now too. But that was I think last week or the week before. So,
That
but
must,
it's all good.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, but that must take
Yeah.
a lot of skill, riding bareback and jumping from horse to horse.
Oh, it's epic. Yeah, it's amazing.
Very
But
good.
my sister had never been out of Canada before, so we did 10 states in 16 days,
Wow, that's a
and
lot of travel.
yeah, we saw a lot of sights, and you know, we both have a bit of a height issue, and so in San Francisco, driving in through San Francisco was quite hilarious because we're both screaming. I'm driving my truck and I was like, oh my God, I hope the brakes are good. I hope the brakes are good. Because some of those streets are like, I swear to God, they're 30-degree angle.
Wow, yeah, eh? For
It's
sure.
wild. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was just thinking when you mentioned how many states you did. Fortunately, one good thing about the states is a lot of them are so close to each other, like they're small, right? Like
Well,
some,
on the East Coast, yeah,
yeah.
but not like California is incredibly big. Arizona's huge. Nevada's not so big, but the other states that we went through are all pretty big. I think we spent the most time in Arizona because it's just so massive.
Right.
Um, and then, yeah, we spent a day in Vegas, but it was just so hot. It was really hard to kind of hard to be outside for sure, and hard to enjoy it. There didn't seem to stop people from going to Vegas to do the things they do in Vegas, right?
Yeah, right. Well, if you're inside somewhere, I'm sure there's lots of air conditioning.
Yeah. But the nice thing was that so we had intended to camp more, but it was just too hot. You can't camp and you can't sleep in 100-degree heat, and it didn't go below like 28, 30 at night.
No.
And so we ended up going to different little motels. Only found one that was not as advertised, and so had to make another booking. But it was pretty epic. And my sister is also a carnivore. Speaking of Cree carnivore, she's the second Cree carnivore in our family, and now our oldest brother and his wife have both also started to experiment with the carnivore way of life.
Okay.
And yeah, so it was really great.
For sure.
I can't remember how long ago it was when we talked, but I'm down about 65 pounds now.
Oh my goodness. Now that's a
Yeah,
lot. Wow.
in
Well,
6 months. Yeah,
congratulations. That is
thank
wonderful.
you. And you know what? It's not never was about weight loss. It was about repairing my all of the consequences of high carb, high sugar, high processed food diet. And yeah, so the weight loss piece is actually the easy part. The adjusting to being a fat burning machine instead of a carb and sugar burning machine, that's the part that takes a little bit of effort. But you just drink lots of water, take a few supplements of vitamins, because that clearing of what's called oxalates, or oxalates are created from plant matter,
Right? Okay.
because plants have to protect themselves, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And, the clearing of that, especially as you get older, I think takes longer.
Mhm.
And I anticipate that, I mean, I feel so fantastic. And I'm some of the pants that I couldn't do even up just past my hip bones. Now it's like they're loose on me. And so, some of my favorite clothes I can't wear anymore because they just look ridiculous on me. They're so huge.
I'm going the opposite way, unfortunately. Like I don't sleep well, so I'm always looking for sweets, you know? And
Yeah, that's part of that insulin resistance cycle. Yeah, I totally understand. I used to have sweets chocolate at night to go to sleep, and it's really it's a poor outcome.
yeah,
on,
no, no kidding.
on carnivore, you really sleep well.
Oh, that's good. I
Uh,
said, geez,
yeah.
I gotta figure out, like, I'll get some more information about that from you if you don't mind after the show, or you can send it to me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure. There's
So,
lots on YouTube.
oh,
Yeah,
do
just
they?
like,
Okay. Well, I
oh
never
yeah,
heard of it before, doing, the carnivore diet. I just never heard
yeah,
it, and you're the first one who ever mentioned it that I know of, so.
yeah. I think that I when I started it, made a post about I think 2 months in
Mhm.
February, I'd lost I think 30 pounds by then.
Yeah,
Because it's stable. Weight loss just stabilizes over time.
sure.
But I think it had an impact already.
Wow.
Uh,
No,
I
that's pretty
heard,
good. Yeah.
yeah, I know a number of people that have made inquiries to me about it, and so I give them the information, and it's none of my business if they do it or not. I'm doing
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
my sister's doing it, and our brother's doing it because we were all carb and sugar addicted, and it's a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you go to any store anywhere. Like where are all the sweets? Right at the
Yeah.
at the counter, like when you go through the cash, and it's like you're set up almost
Yeah.
to fail to live this kind of diet because they know it's addictive.
And like any convenience store or gas station is just loaded with high processed foods. It's all carbs, it's all grains, it's all
Yeah.
really bad oils.
Hmm.
Like this stuff is toxic, right?
Yeah.
And then sugars and all the colors. It's overwhelming. Yeah, I find the grocery store overwhelming. So I generally just ignore. I think about what it is I need. Okay, dairy section if I'm going to get some butter, and then the meat section. But mostly I just go to the butcher, the local
Right.
butcher in Sask,
Right.
and then that's it. I don't worry about the rest of it.
I remember meeting this woman. I used to belong to Weight Watchers, and actually I was one of the leaders. And I met this woman who was from South Africa. And when she moved here and go into grocery stores, she tried all the cookies. She said she'd never seen aisles full of all different kinds of cookies, And so she put on all kinds of weight because it was such a treat for her to have all of these items. And it's think, wow, what we do to ourselves, what we allow uh, our children to get addicted to, if you
I
think,
know. Before I started on January 1st, I was like having to nap every day.
like,
And my sister and I, we drove in 11 and a half hours yesterday, and then we were both up until like 10:30, 11,
cool,
and no problem. I
right?
got home and it was like, shouldn't I be more tired? It's
Funny.
like, no.
Speaking of your
Uh,
sister, do you have I know you mentioned one sister, one brother. Do you have other siblings?
yeah, I have five sisters and three, two living brothers.
Mm,
One passed away a few years ago of a stroke.
okay.
Um, and then that's in my birth family. And then in my adoptive family, I have two brothers and one sister.
All right, right,
And
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so I have quite a few siblings floating around.
Very nice, yeah. Oh, so I
Yeah,
want to talk a little bit more though about your consulting business.
sure.
Just a reminder for people, you do communications training, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So I used to call it lateral violence intervention. And what I found was that, and my booking agent found was that organizations were really interested because they knew that the things were amiss. But then they'd get scared.
Mm,
And so I realized it's probably something to do with that title, lateral violence. It's kind of like,
okay.
having a workshop saying, naughty adult workshop.
That sounds
I mean,
fun.
it's like, depending on how how you define naughty. But
Yeah.
or bad behaving adult workshop. It's like people would be like, maybe we don't want to do this after all. So I changed to like effective organizational communication,
Okay.
because the reality is it's not so much about lateral violence, it's about the causes of it.
Right.
And so in the workshops I do a little bit of the history, but and then I talk about sort of the brain stuff, right? The memory stuff about what is lateral violence and what are sort of the building blocks of it. So things like gossip, um,
Okay.
mm, triangulation, complaining, gossip, all those sorts of things, right?
Hmm.
And go through those in detail, providing scenarios, and people kind of go, oh yeah, I know what's going on there. And then and also like the impact of colonialism on individuals, and uh and then I take them through a model of accountability, personal accountability based on indigenous ethics. So in Cree culture, we have these Cree laws and these principles and ethics, and two of them that are really sort of fundamental to our way, and many of our nation's ways of being are the ethic of relationality, so relationships,
Right.
and the ethic of reciprocity, so that give and take, that balance, which is why we do it's why we our ways of greeting each other and getting to know each other are very specific. Sorry, I have to put my cat down. He likes to bother me when I'm on
Well,
Zoom.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And the our ways of relating are the protocols and practices around that, and respect, kindness, those sorts of things. They've been disrupted through the residential school system, the 60 scoop, and
Right.
imposed trauma has a way of taking us off of our path
Right.
of integrity.
Hmm. Hmm.
And and it's not about blame, it's about, for me it was about, at some point I recognized I'm not the person that I really want to be.
Right.
But and so I had to go through many years of therapy. I still see a therapist because occasionally, I think that recovery is really about going down through the layers of that onion to our core
Right.
self. And even when we get there, I think there's even finer layers that we can work on. And so, I mean, I've talked about being a child of abuse in foster care, but it's only recently, and this is 56 years later, it's only recently that I've been talking about the specifics,
Right.
and and what I now understand to be the imprinting of that on me, in
Hmm.
terms of my sexuality, my sexual identity, my gender identity, all of those things. And it's a master puzzle, this life, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Well, one of the things, like talking about the trauma, I heard it said that when a child is abused, it changes forever who they were meant to be.
Yeah.
And it
And
makes
I remember doing a talk about 10 years ago, maybe a little less, 8 years ago, before the pandemic. And I said, I've always identified as two-spirit.
Mhm.
And in the younger day, lesbian. But then it was like that didn't ever really fit, because I'm as attracted to men as I am to women. In fact, I think sometimes I'm more attracted to men, but men were never an option because of the abuse that I experienced.
Ah,
And I mean, that's tragic,
yeah.
because that's a fundamental alteration of who I am as a human being. And it limited sort of my options. And so then I went to two-spirit because that seemed to be fit better.
Mm. A
And
lovely term. It is a lovely term.
yeah, well, I think in terms of gender, it is like I was very influenced by my older brother, who loved to fix things, and I love to do things that he did. And so, I do renovations, and sort of stereotypically sort of male activities for fun. That's my thing.
Yeah.
But I don't hate men. I
Yeah,
don't
I
dislike
understand.
men.
I hear what you're saying.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I love men. And I've always had crushes
Yeah.
and lots of interest, but something has always stopped me from being able to have that relationship. And I understand now what that is.
Right.
It's
What
just
it did for me in my abuse, the sexual abuse, is are choosing the wrong man, that, the more abusive man,
Yeah.
and
Well, we choose, it's like if we've been abused, whether it's our parents or somebody else,
yeah,
as adults, it's as if there's some sort of subconscious motivation to find our abuser or a replica as close as possible, a replica, and then fix it.
very good, yes.
You know, have a different outcome.
Mhm.
It doesn't work because we can't change other people. We can only change ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, but the real value for me of being in the last abusive relationship was I thought about it, and I had to admit to my own sort of role in it, because it's a dance between two people, right?
Yeah.
It's not just one-sided. And it taught me about the type of relationship that I would never have again, and I never have. And I'm really clear now. All the things that used to draw me to people are now I recognize are generally red flags.
Right. Yeah.
So if I'm instantly like enamored of somebody,
Mhm.
now I go, okay, what's the red flag here?
Yeah.
Because it's one of those paradoxes in life, right? It's trickster is going to draw us to things that aren't necessarily good for us, like sugar,
Right.
chocolate, abusers.
Yes.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happened?
So yeah, that's the training, and I
Mm,
it's communication, and it's really about, so the accountability model is then based upon our ethics
right. Yeah.
and our the little bit that I know about our traditional teachings of child rearing and our responsibilities as adults, as adult human beings. And sometimes, you'll hear in movies and TV and stuff, what it mean. You hear it sort of reference to, like, it in just about all of our nations, the word that we have for ourselves in Korea is nehio, nehiawak. It means the people, the original people, or the people, or the real people.
Okay.
And it's not sort of just casual. It means something.
Yeah, absolutely.
It means something to become a real person, to become a human being,
Hmm.
because we're very primitive and instinctual creatures, and our job as adults is to raise our children in a certain way,
Yeah.
so that they're not out there just running amok. And that takes effort. And it also, as we grow from children, it takes effort on our part then to get clear on what our values and ethics and morals are, and how, who do we want to be as human beings. And so, that's a pretty big task, but in a nutshell, that's sort of what I work on in the
Right.
workshops. And then I do other research as well. I do research and evaluation and data crunching,
So
stuff
what
like
kind
that.
of research are you talking about, referring to?
Well, so I finished up a 5-year project looking at our archival records. I have about 40,000 archives related to Indigenous child welfare in Canada.
Okay.
As the research project was looking at what happened that created the conditions of possibility for 50 to 100,000 Indigenous children to be removed from families and communities and placed into non-Indigenous homes.
Right.
So I was, searching high and low for policies and those sorts of things. It's very it's obscured. All of it's interesting. I need more funding to be able to go through my archives
Hmm.
and do some more detailed work. But we have done a couple of articles on the advertising of Indigenous children, in the 60s, 70s, 80s. There was a column called Today's Child, and Helen something or other was the author, and it was basically the marketing of Indigenous children. And so we've done a couple of articles analyzing the language and just the strategy that was used, and I guess the tropes that were relied upon in terms of rescue this poor Indian child.
Yeah, yeah.
Get down, get up. I'm gonna chase him away. He really likes to bother me when I'm on Zoom. I don't know why. He's too smart for his own damn furry good.
Listen, I love things like that because I don't do editing. I want my interviews to be like real, So something like that is like, yeah, that's real.
Come here, Zen. You want to be on Zoom?
That's probably what it is, right?
So naughty, so naughty. Yeah. So that's one. And right now, just before I took early retirement, um, I got a grant for a 3-year project on Indigenous specific racism in the academy.
Okay,
And interestingly, it was part of this sort of envelope of funding, and we're connecting with other teams that are doing quite similar work. And we're gonna collaborate on a symposium next spring, um, well, next June.
right?
That's going to be on the West Coast, and an international symposium, and so it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Um,
That sounds,
and then I get asked by organizations to, like, I've done child welfare evaluations. I had one organization who had 3 years of funding for issues related to disability, and so they had all this data, really great data they'd collected, but they didn't have the manpower to
mm.
sort of crunch the numbers and roll it up into a report, and so that's what I did that for them.
Oh,
A
okay.
couple of my research associates, and yeah, so interesting that stuff. And I don't advertise.
So how
And
do they
so,
find you then? How do the people find you?
well, different ways. I don't know. It's uh, if I'm too busy, I'll just, say, spirits, ancestors, I'm a little busy right now. And if nothing's coming in, it's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for something.
Right.
And it works out.
Hmm.
So the more I take that approach, the more I do it, the more the more faith that I have that it just works out well.
Yeah,
And it does. Yeah,
right.
I seem to be very fortunate that way, go from one thing to the next,
That's
get
pretty cool.
invited. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I love that. Uh, I don't know if when you were here last time, if we talked about the truth bombs, like, did we explore that at all? I can't remember. Sorry.
Well, you know, um, I think this is, I think, even if, even if I sort of like manifested being heterosexual, I think I would probably still refer to myself as two-spirit,
Hmm.
even if my sexuality was heterosexual acting, right?
Right.
Which is a possibility, but it's a challenging one again because of the abuse.
Yeah.
But part of being two-spirit is that your spiritual gifts are pretty clear. And so in our communities, two-spirit people had very strong gifts that they manifested quite young.
Okay.
And like I remember talking to two elders, very well respected elders, well known, and they both had two-spirit people in their family. And one was talking about this two-spirit person who was born male,
Hmm.
wore women's clothing like all of his adult life,
Right.
all of their adult life, and was the person that cared for the children. So the children loved to go there, and I mean, they fed them and played with them and took care of them, and was this person was very well trusted. There was never anything untoward. It just wasn't in that their realm of possibility. This was just their role.
All right.
And I think they also gave ceremonial names and that sort of thing. So they had a number of different roles, both spiritual and cultural, that they played. And it just wasn't an issue.
Hmm.
It's only become an issue because of colonization, Christianity, judgment,
Yes.
yeah, those sorts of things. And
I
so
have
the
somebody, yeah.
truth bomb thing is that, recognizing when I was quite young that I have a way of seeing things,
Okay.
seeing the truth. And then I studied psychology, and then 3 degrees in social work, where I studied psychology and human behavior, and I've studied deception for about a decade now. It fascinates me. I have a bunch of books on deception, and then also learning, traditional understandings of behavior. So it's like I always speak to the elephant in the room, and that can get you in trouble. So
Yes.
that's the truth bombs, and I know a few other people, same thing. Like they'll just get right to the heart of the matter and just say it.
Yeah,
And sometimes people don't like that.
I know.
So
I know. My ex, like, he told me I was too blunt, and I said, would you prefer if I beat around the bush? And he said it would be easier to take.
I don't know if it is easier to take though, because then they've got that whole time of fretting while you're beating around the bush because they know what's going on, right?
Of course, yeah. It was just such an insane comment, in my mind anyway, right?
Yeah,
Um, uh,
yeah.
oh, I was going to ask you something. Now it's just that, my train of thought when I went away somewhere like that.
Yeah, so truth bombs are interesting, It's like in my issues at my previous position that's taking me into arbitration.
Okay.
Um yeah, like some of the truth bombs that I laid out were not taken well, and so then there was retaliation.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like that's okay. I'm guided by spirit. I
Right.
have I have a role, and I'm taken to different places, and I mean, part of it too was I think that spirit just didn't want me there anymore. There's another sort of path for me to go down, and I'm still going to go through the arbitration because one thing that I never do is back down from a fight if people are being hurt,
Right.
and I am fiercely loyal and fiercely protective of colleagues, younger people,
Mm.
and, and I'll step to the forefront of a battle if I have to. And so really, that's what this is about: is stepping to the forefront of a battle in an institution that I don't believe is conducting themselves in a way that fits with my values for sure,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of equity, inclusion, diversity,
Right.
anti-racism, anti-oppression. And I'm registered in and a member of bodies that live by ethical codes. And when I took those codes and I compared them to what was going on, it was like, there's a problem here. I can't stay.
Right.
Because if I stay, then I'm complicit.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
that
did you
makes
sit
sense.
down? Okay, come here. Come here. Oh, he just wants to go out. He
Oh,
doesn't want
okay.
to come on the camera. You want to come on the camera? Come here.
Because we're running out of time anyway. So,
Well, that's okay. Zen can say, this is Zen.
oh, Zen, what
And
a lovely looking cat.
I know, and he's so naughty.
Oh, I love that. I love stuff like that. Okay, so we're just about running out of time. But I want to thank you very much for doing this again, and we should do it more, again as well.
Yeah, we should visit too. That'd be
Oh,
awesome.
yeah,
And
yes.
yeah, I love to do these types of conversations because I think for people that watch, there might be one thing that I say that has an impact.
Yeah.
And then it's like, feel free to reach out to me. Raven Sinclair. There is a Raven Sinclair in the States that has like some X's after her name. I think that's not me.
Okay.
Or right,
But
smutty stuff.
You're the one in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, yeah. Academic
Okay.
speaker. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Nancy. It's so nice to see you again.
Nice you too. Just stay on camera for a minute, okay? And I just to
Sure.
the audience, thank you so much for watching the
Okay.
show. I really hope you can continue to do so and that took away something wonderful from Raven. So anyway, take care, everybody, and peace out.
Peace out.
Oh, I love talking with you. It's just,
Cool.
oh, hey, what happened?
I did two peace signs.
Oh my goodness.
And I know that if you do two thumbs up, that's pretty spectacular.
Oh,
And
pretty
you
cool.
do, and if you do one finger,
What is that
or
from?
maybe it's two fingers. It's from the updated Zoom Pro.
Oh, I see.
That
Okay. I don't
works.
have that.
One.
So. That is so fantastic. But yeah, I'd love to meet in person. That would be so wonderful. Oh my goodness.
Where are you situated?
I'm in Chilliwack, BC.
Oh, I was just
Fraser
through
Valley.
there.
Pardon?
I was just through there.
Oops, I'm just getting a running out of time signal from Zoom.
Okay.
I better end it,
Right.
otherwise it's just going to cut us off flat.
Let's set up a Zoom call in the next couple of weeks and we'll just have a chat.
Sounds wonderful. Thanks again for
Right.
this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Take
Bye
care.
and have a
Bye.
good day.